Hi Gemini, welcome to your mid-November tarot and astrology reading. Hope you're all well. Thank you for all your likes and subscriptions and support of the channel. It is much appreciated, and if you haven't subscribed already, please do. So Gemini, this is an interesting month for relationships as a whole, but the second month is when things really start to move. So Venus is ending its 6-week retrograde cycle on the 16th in your sector of true love, which is a bit of a relief. Coincidentally though, Mercury goes retrograde the same day in your sector of partnerships and relationships. And we have Jupiter already there in that same sector, providing you with a bit of charisma, making you want to speak your truth, talk to your partners. It's a great time to meet new friends, new relationships, explore the prospect of commitment. In the next year, some Geminis may be getting engaged. So keep your eyes peeled for meeting more suitable candidates. Although with Mercury in retrograde, well, it can put a little bit of a strange, well, everyone else can put a little bit of a strange spin on your communication, Gemini, which is where you could run into a little bit of trouble. But regardless of partnerships, it's all going to be about you in the 23rd when the full moon is in your sign. Now, you only get one of these once a year, and the full moon illuminating your own sign really illuminates who you are as a person, and it may make you discover certain things you hadn't noticed before. Maybe some feelings come out, especially regarding relationships and feelings for other people. When the full moon is in your sign, you might realize you were feeling a certain way about folks that you know, and you may see them differently because you were suppressing something or you just weren't aware of it. So feelings all come to the surface on this full moon in your sign, and it's for the better because we all need a little bit of illumination on our personalities from time to time. We are not always aware, well, we're not always so self-aware, you know. And a full moon in your sign is glorious, Gemini. It's all about you. And I think with the amount of partnership aspects in the sky for you, with the sun moving into Sagittarius on the 22nd and Mercury there and Jupiter there, you need some me time. So if you need some downtime during the full moon, you take it, Gemini. You do what you need to do. Similarly, if you need to have a conversation with someone, bear in mind under the full moon, because you will feel a bit more open to communication. It can be misconstrued. So if you're going to, you know, drop a major declaration on someone, make sure you've really rehearsed it and be prepared to explain it. You know what I mean? Because it can be misinterpreted. King of Cups, you could be dealing with a water sign, Scorpio, Pisces, or Cancer. 3 of Swords in your hopes and fears, but you don't want to get your heart broken. Okay. The Star in your hopes position. Well, your helpful position, but I say hopes because it's the Star, you know. 2 of Wands in the challenge, and the outcome is the Page of Swords. So you are looking to have a conversation of some kind, Gemini. What's underneath? The 3 of Wands. Okay. Now this is quite a spread. It's very matching if you notice the colours. But I do think a lot of you are quite possibly dealing with a water sign person, or at least somebody that you are very emotionally attached to, because cups can just represent the emotional attachment we have to a person. Now, when I see the 2 of Wands in the challenge, I do feel like progress has been the issue, and this is most likely due, of course, with the Mercury retrograde. And interestingly enough, I always think the Page of Swords can represent Mercury retrograde energies, you know? You seem to be trying to think quite forward into the future with the 3 of Wands underneath. You're really taking a moment to assess where it is that you want to be in a year's time. So maybe with Jupiter going through your partnership sector, you're wondering how you want your partnership, your partnerships to look like in the next year. You're definitely forward thinking, and you're thinking forward because there seems to be a lack of progress in some area, or at least you're going to be struggling with progress in the last 2 weeks of November. And this is just in part due to Mercury retrograding in your partnership sector. So I sense there's a curiosity, and when is there not with Gemini people? There's a curiosity with the Page of Swords here about a particular person. And it may be somebody new, it may be from somebody from the past, it may be somebody that you're currently dealing with. There's curiosity surrounding this King of Cups person, or they have curiosity leading towards you. Now, I do think there is some social media stalking going on, Gemini, so that's either you or it's the other person. But I do think you could be dealing with someone who's a bit emotional, or you're feeling emotional too. Now, the beautiful thing, Gemini, the absolutely beautiful aspect of this is that the star, the only major arcana so far, is in your helpful position, so you're going to be getting help from the universe. The star is a very universal card. It's all about realizing who you are, who you're surrounded with, you're feeling blessed by the universe. Even if things aren't maybe progressing as quickly as you liked, or you're not entirely sure of the next step, you can trust that it's going to be revealed to you when you need it. So it's that expression, leap and the net will appear. And some people love that expression, some people hate it, but it's very much where you're going with this. The star card is all about having hope and faith in the divine plan. It's about a purpose in life. And whoever it is you're dealing with, or whatever it is you're dealing with, because I think for a lot of you it is a water sign, whatever it is that you're dealing with, you're being blessed by pure love from the universe with the star here, you know. This is a very magical card, the star, and it's overtaking the Three of Swords. Typically, when you see it beside the Three of Swords, it represents healing, you know. It represents healing of that pain. And the star card, if you can't see, she's looking at her own reflection. She's realizing who she is. Just like I said, the full moon in Gemini may illuminate certain parts of yourself you weren't quite aware of, and they will come in handy in navigating a relationship which may have been tricky or may be unclear at this point. And you're going to want to talk about it. You're going to want to shed some light on your perspective. You're going to be quite hot-footed about it as well, with the red boots and the swords, the Page of Swords. You're going to want to make swift action, but maybe the problem is that the other person isn't quite ready to talk about how they're feeling or talk about where they want things to go. With Jupiter in your partnership sector, Gemini, regardless of your feelings towards commitment before, you're actually going to be very into the concept for the next year. However, with Mercury retrograding in that sector, you may not be coming across the way you usually would. Now, Mercury is your ruler, so you know better than anybody what a Mercury retrograde period is like. But to have it in your partnership sector, I do sense that you're maybe going to either come across as too detached or too needy. It seems to confuse your communication. Now, Eight of Swords. The Emperor. Okay, we see a strange relationship here between freedom and control. Yeah, the Two of Swords. But that's helping you, interestingly. Queen of Wands is the challenge. And the Three of Pentacles. So we are getting some growth out of this, Gemini. Okay. So, yeah. There seems to be a need for commitment perspectives to change. So the Two of Swords in the helpful position means that making too much of a move isn't going to work. Okay? Actually staying still seems to be the better option. Not pushing, you know? The Two of Swords is mostly about feeling like you can't make a decision. When it's in the positive position, it means that you can, but your decision is better made in a calm mind, you know, staying still and reflecting. There's a lot of reflections here. You can see the water behind her, and you can see the star. She's looking at her own reflection. Reflection is incredibly positive here, particularly because we have two people in a relationship that seem to be unclear on the status, unclear on the next step, unclear on the progress, unclear on what to do. There's a lot of deliberations. Some of you are definitely dealing with an Aries. This guy is reflecting, and this is the problem. He's not sure what the next step is. With the Queen of Wands, she's very action dominated. She likes to make moves. She likes to keep the momentum going, and in the challenge position, she's not able to do that because of circumstances. It could mean that you're having problems with a fire sign, or you're not sure where you stand with a fire sign, coincidentally. The Emperor here with the Three of Swords does suggest that maybe one person issues more control than the other. It could also indicate that you're having issues with your boss in the workplace. Maybe you're tired of taking orders and you want to have more of an entrepreneurial spirit because you would rather determine your own moves, and that's where you're getting confused. You don't know which way to go with that. And interestingly, Gemini, with the Page of Swords and the Three of Pentacles, I do think that communication, even if it is not exactly perfect under Mercury retrograde, there is still going to be a next step. Might be small. It's sort of baby steps are coming up in the last 2 weeks of the month, but they're very positive. Three of Pentacles is always about that little working together to create something bigger. You know, you can see the architecture here. These three people looking at this beautiful wall. I don't know the terminology for this. They're looking at this beautiful structure and they're working together to make it more beautiful. They're working together is the main point. So if you're working with another person or other people, group activities are enhanced, you're going to be able to make progress, which is of course what you want, right? But it doesn't come from pushing. That's the one thing that I'm seeing here. You just have to reflect a little bit and the answer will become clear. As I say, the net will appear when you leap. It's not necessarily about pushing someone into your way of thinking. It's continuing on as you were, right? I hope I'm not confusing you. Mercury retrograde can confuse us all. But with the Emperor here, it's interesting. I do see that there's a sense of stability towards this heartbreak. So you're getting stability from the Three of Swords. You're getting stability from reflection. This full moon in your sign is going to illuminate some fears maybe. And you're gonna address them head on. You're going to have this Emperor-like determination. You're going to want to set your own rules and stay on top of your game. You're going to want to use your knowledge and past experience and past disappointments to navigate your current problems. And although you can't see the solution, you don't exactly know what way you're going with this, and other people seem to be a bit like headless chickens around you, you're going to be okay and you're going to get it. You're going to get what it is that you need to do at the moment you least expect to understand it. As I say, jump and the net will appear. Now, the Queen of Wands in the challenge position, maybe people are being a little bit more flighty than usual. I do think some of you could actually have come out, because the Queen of Wands and the Three of Swords can indicate where somebody else was interfering in your relationship and it's frustrated you. And maybe you've taken some time off from the person and you want to talk again. Or maybe, yeah, because we have 2 3s here. I do think some of you want to talk to someone you've not spoken to in a while, and the only communication you have with the person is kind of small. Page of Swords can be, as I say, social media. So, I mean, who would have thought 10 years ago we'd be in a position where liking something online meant something? Because how do we expect the world to progress when that is a form of communication? Isn't it strange when you think about it? So maybe you're in a position with someone when all you're doing is, you know, little things on social media to assert your presence, or they're doing that. Yeah, you're definitely out in the cold with somebody, or they're out in the cold with you. It could be a water sign, as I say. 6 of Pentacles. You're hoping for an offer for sure. Oh, the wheel. Wow, Gemini, that's amazing. The Wheel of Fortune and the Star in the helpful position. Wow. The 6 of Cups. Okay. Ooh, the 2 of Pentacles. Okay. And the Hanging Man. Yes. Okay. Right. The Hanging Man always represents this pause. Okay? With the Hanging Man, or the Hanged Man, whichever you want to call him, something's been on hold, but it's been on hold for a reason. Take note of the Wheel of Fortune in the positive position, Gemini, and realize that what has been put on hold, what has been paused, has been there to gather momentum. Something is going to reveal itself, but it needs time. So as I say before, with the Star card and the Two of Swords, you just have to reflect and let something else happen, okay? You have to let the circumstances around you change themselves in the last 2 months, and continue on in the path that you're going. So if you're dealing with a relationship, it's like you don't have to do anything for fate to intervene. If you're dealing with your career, it is very much that continue on and let things sort themselves out. There's kind of this pause towards relationships and let them transpire themselves. And then with career, you can take this forward momentum, but you don't have to have all the answers. To an extent, it can be the same way with both. With the Wheel of Fortune gracing your positive position, you are being blessed by the fates, regardless of what you're doing, okay? With the Page of Swords, communication could be somewhat tricky because it may not be completely construed in the way it was intended with Mercury retrograding in your partnership sector. That's fine. For some reason, with the Three of Pentacles and the Two of Pentacles, we see growth and deliberation. We don't see massive momentum. That's coming, okay? The Wheel of Fortune with the Star card, Jupiter is in your partnership sector. It's on your side. Mercury retrograding in that sector is a minor blip, but it is a period for you to reflect on what it is that you want from commitments and relationships before you're propelled forward to meet people that can be your best friend, that can be your business partners, that can be your marriage partners. You get that moment of reflection before it's all go, go, go. So if you've not decided what type of person you want in each of those categories, you get that time to reflect. And shock horror, the Six of Cups in your challenge position means looking backward for answers isn't really going to work it out. You have to reflect on where you are now and what you want. You have to reflect on the future. You don't have to feel guilty for the past if you feel guilty for the past forever. You don't have to feel disappointed that something in the past didn't work out, okay? Particularly if it's with a fire sign. But that's not to say that Jupiter won't bring people to you that you really want, okay? It will, but only if they are the right person for you. So if you're dealing at the moment with someone from your past and you're trying to work things out and you can't see the way forward, bear in mind Mercury retrograde isn't the best time to sort things completely, but it offers reflection and it offers perspectives on people from the past. If anything, Mercury retrograde is a good time to revisit those areas and see if you can find a conclusion or you can find a new direction. But regardless of what that is, it's going to reveal itself. You don't necessarily have to do anything, okay? And that's not typical to say in these readings because a lot of the time when you say something good's going to happen, people can get comfortable and just stay in their house all the time, and it's not as if you're going to really build a momentum by doing nothing. Do you know what I mean? Momentum always occurs from action, yet in this case, the Wheel of Fortune and the Two of Swords means you just need to reflect on what it is that you want for it to happen. Your concentration on your manifestations is the most important. And with the full moon in your sign, you're being illuminated to things you didn't realize. And then when that reveals itself, you'll have more room to react and room to act in general, okay? So I hope that's not confused you too much, Gemini. The point that I'm trying to get with this is that the universe is working for you. And it's going to be working for you for the next year in terms of your partnerships and your relationships, one-on-one, okay? And maybe with Mercury retrograde, it's not the best time to make direct action, to make direct decisions, direct communications. But the full moon is going to reveal something to you that will enhance movement where things were once stagnant, okay? So you don't have to necessarily make many moves in the last 2 weeks of the month, even if you want to. Your communication could be misconstrued with Mercury. However, keep going anyway. You don't have to do anything massive. You don't have to do anything direct. All will reveal itself when you're ready to move, okay? Because you're not ready at the moment to move mountains on something or someone. Everything is going to reveal itself to you, and the universe is on your side completely. I mean, the Wheel of Fortune with the Star is such a winning combination. And what's beautiful about it with the Two of Swords is the element of surprise, because you can't see that this is happening, but it is nonetheless. You're curious about someone, somebody's curious about you. And time is going to reveal yourselves to each other. You just need to give it time. There's deliberations and they're frustrating. Mercury retrograde has that effect on people. It can be a little bit frustrating and a little bit of a nuance. But it's occurring for the greater good. It's occurring to prepare you for the Jupiter cycle in Sagittarius. And that can only be a good thing, because don't you want to do it right when it happens? I think so. Release bodies of water. Spend time near water, such as a lake, river, or the ocean, to recharge your batteries. Oh, very nice. And interestingly, I said about water reflections here. Reflecting by the sea. There's a lot of water. Blossoming. You're just getting started, so have patience with yourself in the process and do not give up. That is exactly what this reading has told you, Gemini. And let's see. Bold. Unleash your adventurous side. Take risks and be daring. Okay. Trust Freya to come in with a little bit of a contradiction. Be daring. You can be daring, Gemini. Just not pushy. Just because Mercury's in retrograde doesn't mean you can't have some fun. It doesn't mean you can't be adventurous. It just means you don't have to worry about, you know, the way things are going to work out, because the universe has that. The universe has that behind you completely. You're just getting started. Have patience, but you can be bold at the same time. To be honest, Freya with bold reminds me a lot of Strength card. It's all about having compassion and courage. I think you're going to want to express yourself with the full moon, and that is okay. But just don't expect it to fix everything right away. You can take action, you can be courageous, but the universe has a bigger plan. So if things don't seem to be moving, just know that it's not that your action is in vain. It's just everything is happening at the right time. The Wheel of Fortune in your positive position, timing is working out 100% for the better. The Star card wants you to have hope, and don't be afraid to do what you need to. Just realize that if it doesn't appear to be working, it's an illusion. Okay, Gemini? So I will talk to you in December. Take care. Bye.